Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your April Soul Session. I am Marlo if you're new, and if you're family, okay, welcome back, my friend. So we have one card that jumped out. This is the same card that came out for Capricorn, if I'm not mistaken. It is disconnection. I'm going to pull a couple of more cards just to get a little bit more information here. We have break in connection, no communication, and my guides are saying 3. No communication and separation. Okay, so there is potentially, oh my gosh, and then more cards came out. Next card, we have beginning. So this sounds like a transformation to me. It says new season, transcend, fresh start, rebirth, transmutation, and transformation. And then we have tangled. Are you guys in an entanglement? Let me find out. Let me find out, Aquarius. It says confusing thoughts, mixed messages, distortion, misaligned, obsessive thinking. And lastly, we have lessons. I believe this came out for Taurus. It says the chance for reflection and revision in a situation, a lesson to be learned to make changes toward your personal growth and path, opportunity to gain a clear idea of what is called for to be true to yourself and your needs. And I feel like I need to say this deck was a gift. It is the Eclipse Oracle. It's available on Etsy. It was gifted by one of my subscribers who made it. I love this deck, by the way, girl. Just saying. Anywho, moving right along. So what is more or less looking like to me, my wonderful Aquarius is more or less you guys are going through a transformative process and a connection. I don't know, ever since Libra, there's been this whole energy of like friendships, and I say it could be both friendships or relationships, but there's some sort of transformation that's coming into the fold through other people, if you will. So kind of what I'm seeing here is with you guys overall energy in the month of April, presently you guys may not be in communication with someone. It's someone that you guys are not speaking to, but I feel this separation or this break in communication that you're having with this person is pretty much facilitating what could quite possibly be a new beginning. It could be a transformation in the connection or the relationship, you know what I mean? And I feel the mental space that you guys are in is one of confusion. It's like you're not really knowing what to do. So it kind of feels to me that you guys may have been in similar situations before, and you've kind of had a clear vision of like, oh, you know, I shouldn't be friends with this person, or oh, I shouldn't date this person, or, you know, whatever the case. But I feel that something feels kind of off. So this disconnection for me, much like how I felt it for Capricorn. And so if you guys are, you know, cuspers, go ahead and, you know, watch that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel more or less like this is like a coping mechanism that you guys deal with. It's like whenever you find yourself in a situation to where you're confused, or you know your mind is racing, you have a whole bunch of stuff that's like kind of running through your head, it's like your default stance is to disconnect, and that's just kind of how you cope and deal with things. But the thing that, so I'm seeing these two, so if I were to kind of move these around, I literally could do it this way. If I were to put it into the order of how I feel this happened, I feel it's like, you know, mental confusion, not really knowing what to do, being kind of at a stalemate. You're not really sure what's next. So you disconnect, right? But the whole premise of why it is that this happened is because this is a valuable lesson for your overall evolution, healing, and growth, right? So it's more or less like how I've been talking to everyone this whole month about the crossroads. I feel this is an opportunity for you guys to garner something greatly for your path and your own evolution and enlightenment that could potentially transform this situation, if you will. But I just feel you guys may not be seeing it that way. The next card that we have is hammock. And it says taking a vacation physically or mentally. Totally feel like that's what you guys are doing. Next, we have moon. And my guides are telling me to tell you that the full moon this month, I believe the full moon is in Libra. You probably should watch Libra. Libra may tell you a great deal about, you would have to put it, I mean, if you don't have it in your chart. If you were to look at the full moon in Libra, and we're looking at Libras as a time where there's manifestations, there's clarity, you know, things that were in the dark coming into the light. I actually believe that is this week, because y'all know I'm recording these late. But I actually think that that's this week. It's sometime between like the 9th and the 17th, 18th. It's somewhere like in that week. But Moon says changes in your life. So I feel that more or less, Aquarius, there's going to be some insight you guys are going to end up coming into. Whether, like, if I were to give you a time frame, the time frame would be for the full moon. It's like I feel that clarity is going to come, or something's going to happen that's going to give you a sense of clarity. But I feel like taking this vacation is really speaking to that disconnection. And it's actually kind of funny because in Capricorn's reading, I use the analogy of a vacation, which is really funny. But so if you have that in your chart, definitely check it out. but I feel this revelation that you guys are going to come to by being disconnected, it's pretty much going to hit the fever pitch around the full moon, and you have an opportunity to alter the course of your experience. The next card that we have is Target, and this says a goal-oriented person. So I feel this frustration you guys may be feeling in reference to this friendship, partnership, or whatever it is that we're talking about. A lot of it goes back to the fact that you guys are used to having the answers. You're used to understanding or knowing or using logic to understand what's happening here. It's like, oh, okay, like I get what it is that you want from me. I get what it is that's going on here. Like I get, what it is I should be doing at this particular time. But I feel whatever this situation is for you guys, it's kind of almost like hit you left field, if you will. It's like it's not something that you're really understanding, but I could legit tell you the beginning at the end, no pun intended, in the sense that if we look at this Tangled card and we look at beginnings, this beginnings is telling you the why there has been this confusion mentally. So we're going to go ahead and hop into you guys' tarot to see what else we can tell you guys in reference to the situation. But I feel all in all, the whole purpose of the month of April is almost like why, like, we could say that God is always good, because it's even, with our faults and our flaws and things of the sort, which is why I always tell people there's never anything to worry about, because our guides, our ancestors, spirit, our angels, they all understand our limitations as humans. They're fully aware of what it is that we've been through in our lives up to this point. They know what our maladaptive coping mechanisms are, and spirit will even work through our maladaptive coping mechanisms. So I feel through this disconnection is how it is that you guys are going to hear from spirit to get that clarity you desire. Now, the next card that we have is the Four of Pentacles. So there's a level of holding back. And I feel the reason why it is that you guys are holding back is because it's self-protection. It's like you guys feel in some sense or another, your heart or your money or, your personal growth or what have you is in jeopardy. So I feel more or less you guys disconnecting. It's like when you started to feel this dissension in so many words, or this conflict, or you felt like things were kind of off. It's like your first thought was like, oh my gosh, let me take care of myself. Let me protect myself. Like I've been through stuff before. I'm not going to let another person do this to me. So you disconnect in order to protect yourself. But what I would garner from this, my beautiful Aquarius is that with there being a lesson in this and there being the opportunity for a transformation, if you will, what this is more or less saying to me is that this coping mechanism that I would call maladaptive, just because I'm a therapist in real life, it's like what I would say, this maladaptive way of dealing with things, like just kind of isolating yourself, taking a step back and kind of disassociating. I don't really feel that that's helping you. So I feel that this transformation is going to come not in your connection with other people, but also in your connection with yourself and how it is that you're relating to other people. Because whenever you guys are feeling in danger or you're feeling, at risk or something like that, it's like your natural inclination is like protect what it is that I have. But I feel the thing that Aquarius isn't seeing is that this is more or less stagnating you. The next card that we have is the Hierophant in the reverse. And of course, that's Taurus energy. Didn't I say something about Taurus? I feel like I said something about Taurus. I feel like I said that. I'm not really sure. I feel like I did. I don't know why I feel like I said that. I don't even know why I would, because I'm looking at the cards. I'm like, I don't even know. But anywho, but that is Taurus energy. So the whole thing is that you're out of alignment with your power and your core values. So what this is saying to me, Aquarius, is there's some things that you guys have been through in your life, or you've been through this year, this month, whatever the case may be. There's some things that you have been through where it's creating a mental block. So with this Hierophant on the reverse, the thing that I'm seeing with this is, of course, why I love this deck so much. Every time I see this card, it makes me think of Jacob's ladder, the metaphysical interpretation of that particular scripture that speaks about Jacob's ladder. It talks about Jacob seeing this vision of this ladder and angels ascending and descending. Those angels that are ascending and descending are thought forms, right? So it's more or less like messengers or communication from the divine to us, right? Now, with this being in the reverse, it's saying there's a block in that. And if I were to go back to this Tangled card, that says to me that you're so much in your head, you're so clouded in your mental space, right? That, and this is something in the event that you did not know, is that whenever we start overthinking and we're like over analyzing things, or our thoughts are racing, or we're so overcome with fear and anxiety, like hashtag Nine of Swords, whenever we're in that kind of energy, it's like we end up snuffing God out. So it's like spirit speaks in a still small voice. Your guides do, your angels do, what have you. But whenever we're overthinking, when we're too much in 3D, when we're too much in sensory consciousness, it's like the only thing that we're hearing is the entanglement of our own thoughts. And we're kind of edging God out. So even if spirit is speaking to us to try to give us clarity, to try to give us insight into a situation, it's like we're just not hearing it, right? And that means because you're in like survival mode and you're trying to protect yourself from, this thing that's allegedly attacking you, right? And you can't hear spirit to speak truth to you. It's like now the only thing that you're left with is fear, right? So the whole thing that you're going to end up doing is being like reactionary. You're going to react to things as opposed to responding to them, right? Because you don't have any spiritual insight that's coming in. So I feel in the month of April, the whole reason why all of this is so important is because you guys are thinking about things from a superficial perspective. You're thinking logically, and you're not really, it's almost like behaving out of fear, if you will. But I feel the beautiful thing about this is by the full moon, it's like you guys are going to be able to, because just like I say with this person, their eyes are closed, but with this being a Pentacles card, it's like their eyes aren't closed and they're going within. Their eyes are closed. They're shutting themselves out from everything that's around them. And the only thing that they're thinking is, I need to protect myself. I need to hold on to what I have, and not seeing how that stagnates them, because feeling as if you don't have any higher power or anything that's protecting you or anything that's looking out for you, it makes you step out of alignment with your core values and the foundation you should be standing on. Because with the Hierophant upright, it would be speaking about you being an ambassador in so many words for the divine, right? It's you being a walking miracle. It's you being heaven on earth, right? It's you being a container for all that is in a physical body. And because one is so afraid of protecting what it is that you have, it's you coming out of agreement with that. And the only thing that you're thinking is with your reptilian brain, which is the only thing that your reptilian brain knows, because it's the lowest level of consciousness. That's like our very first brain. Okay, my left ear just went like dead and now it's ringing. Wonderful. But anywho, but your first brain is your gut brain. Your reptilian brain would be your second brain. And the only thing the reptilian brain knows is to survive. It's like there's a threat. We need to survive. We need to stay alive type of deal. And that's kind of the energy you guys are in. Now, the next card that we have is the Justice in the reverse. And that's Libra energy. I love how all of the signs that you're reading is reminding me of are coming up. So I would definitely tell you guys to check out Libra's reading as well. So the whole thing is with justice, we're speaking about reward and punishment. We're also speaking about karmic cycles, right? So more or less for my Aquarius people, there's a decision that needs to be made. And I always look at this card and it makes me think of Mayat. Those of you who are on my network, you guys know that in the Pretty Mystic Memos, we talked about the laws of Mayat about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And this is all about like judgment day, if you will. So it's like it's coming to the scales and it's weighing your heart to a feather. Whenever justice is in the reverse, it's saying that you're teetering on the less than stellar side of the scale, which warrants punishment, proverbially speaking, meaning the fact that you harden your heart. Now that brings us back to this Four of Pentacles, because that's exactly what's happening now in transit. As you guys are experiencing things subjectively, you may not be seeing it in the concept of like, oh, I'm hard-hearted. No, of course you're not going to see it like that. But I feel that's what the lesson is here. It's more or less that you guys have been jaded, you guys have been marred, you guys have been, petrified by certain things that have happened to you. You've learned, because you're a goal-oriented person as an Aquarius, you've learned the process of logic that keeps you safe. But the thing that you're not seeing, that what's keeping you safe is also keeping you sick. It's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stagnant. It's preventing you from moving forward. It's preventing you from hearing spirit, right? So even though that there's the potential here with the justice in the reverse for you guys to receive a reward, right? It's the fact that you have inadvertently become the god of your own life. You've inadvertently, and that's exactly what the Hierophant in the reverse speaks about. We talked about that in Scorpio's reading, I think the very last one that we did for 2021 in the soul sessions, where we spoke about this whole thing about the, Christ and Antichrist spirit, and the Hierophant in the reverse is the Antichrist spirit. That's when we've come to a point to where we feel like we don't need God, even though we may delude ourselves into believing that we do believe in God still, that we trust in God, that we think God's looking out for us. But if we were to look at our behavior is saying that we believe we are the only one, we are the only person that's ever going to make anything happen. But just when it's, appropriate, we're like, oh yes, I totally believe. But our behaviors betray us. So it's more or less a pattern or a process that you guys have become a keen and accustomed to, with that being the foundation of this belief, in the sense that there isn't going to be anyone that's there for me. I'm only looking out, for myself. It's like whenever I feel unsafe, and this is something that I said with another sign, I can't remember if it was Libra, Sagittarius, or Capricorn, but I said something along the lines of, there's an imperative need to understand the difference between a trauma response and your intuition, because I felt there's a lot of people who are mistaking, and I just was told Scorpio, so this may have something to do with the Scorpio as well. I have no idea why. But anywho, there's more or less this sense where it's just this whole thought of, I have to figure everything out on my own. Like, my foundation is me, but you're not going to see it that way in transit, if you will. The next card that we have, oh my goodness, we have the 7 of Wands in the reverse, and that is exactly the energy that I'm feeling, Aquarius. You guys should be standing in a position of power. The only way that you can stand in the power of the 7 of Wands upright is if you know that you have a benevolent divine protector that's behind you. So despite all of the people who are coming after you, despite all of the people who are gossiping about you, despite all of the people who may have it out for you, it's like you don't trip about it, because you know that you overstand your situation and that you're at a position of being at an advantage, right? Because if you look at this card upright, you see this woman, she's in her little crystal ball, she's in her little lotus pose. Her eyes are closed and she's attuned to spirit. So every single thing that's happening outside of her is neither here nor there. Like, none of that matters, because she knows that she's protected, because she knows the protection comes divinely. It's not something that's tangible. But looking at the fact that the 7 of Wands is falling beneath this 4 of Pentacles, these are energies that are directly contrasted to each other. Now, ideally, this is what we're talking about when we're saying contrasting energies. And hold on, let me hold it this way. So both of these women are looking at each other, right? But you have one woman who's looking at the divine, right? Like, she's looking in the direction of spirit. You have another person who's looking in the direction of 3D. So this is a person who's saying, I'm safe, I'm protected. It doesn't matter how, like, what type of opposition comes towards me. It's like, I'm Gucci. And she really has opposition that's around her. Mind you, the person in the 4 of Pentacles has no opposition that's around them. Everything exists only in their mind and their physical body and their sensory consciousness, but she's still protecting herself. But you don't see anything ethereal that's around her, right? Because if we're looking at colors wise, whenever you know that there's the presence of spirit in something, especially with this being a Wands card, Wands speaks to spirit. But whenever you're seeing colors like purple and things, magenta and things of the sort, all of that is speaking to the ethereal. But it's like, here, all of the colors in this card, especially with the red and the blue, like, all of this is speaking to very, tangible, practical, 3D kind of energy. So this is someone who's saying, all I have is me, and being stuck in that thought form. But then you have another person, right? And 7 is a number that speaks to the completion of man, right? that even though they really have opposition, they're still trusting spirit. This person has no opposition and they're not. You know what I'm saying? So seeing these two cards falling underneath each other is giving us the contrast of the energy that you guys are entering this particular month with, right? And I feel that's the lesson here. The lesson here is you guys really learning how to trust spirit. So regardless of how it is that this is panning out with other human beings, all of these human beings are merely catalysts to your experience. You know, all of these human beings are merely just people that spirit is using, despite, like, you know, your little coping mechanism of just icing out and disassociating and all this other kind of stuff. It's like spirit is still working through all of that. So I really feel that the homage that really needs to be paid this month to anyone, in my left ear is ringing again. If there's any homage that needs to be paid to anyone, it needs to be paid to the glory of God. And the fact that despite your faults, despite your decisions, despite what you do, it's like God is still favoring you. You feel what I'm saying? It's like you're still protected and you're still guided, even though you believe that you're the only person who's going to do it. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the next card that we have is the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. So with this card in particular, when it's upright, I look at this as my independent woman, my independent man card. But whenever I see the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, it speaks to a sense of low self-esteem for me. And it's low self-esteem that's manifesting in 3D because you feel like you're not enough, right? You feel like you're not enough. You're not good enough. Everything it is that you're trying to accomplish, it's almost going to be like a gift in the event that stuff does work out, but deep down inside, you really feel like it's not. You know what I'm saying? With this falling under the Hierophant in the reverse, it's like that's saying to me the why in so many words. The reason why you haven't reached that level of abundance that you want, or the reason why you have things in your life and you feel like it's still not enough. The reason why, you know, you're falling into maladaptive thought forms, right? To where no matter how successful you are, it's never enough. And you feel like people are just bullshitting you when they compliment you, or they're just bullshitting you when they're telling you that, oh my gosh, this is so great. This is so good. Like, oh, this is the best picture I've ever seen. Like, oh, this is the best like cake I've ever tasted, whatever. The reason why you can't receive those compliments, right, is because, once again, looking at what this is diagonal from, the Four of Pentacles, is the fact that you feel like you're all you have. Like you don't really feel, and I'm saying this is not how you guys are going to be thinking. This isn't for every single Aquarius. It's only for who it is that resonates with it. But if you're going to, I mean, if you do resonate with this, not saying if you're going to, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you do resonate with this, then you're someone who feels less than stellar. You feel not enough, and you feel you somehow cheated the system in order to be as successful as you are up to this point. Or you feel the reason why you're not successful at all is because you're just not enough. But the reason why you feel that is because you're not seeing yourself as a child of God. It's like you're seeing yourself as a human being with all of your faults, all of your flaws, everything that's, you know, not pristine and A1 and perfect about you. And you can't understand how you could ever possibly deserve anything. And that's the lesson of all of this, like literally, Aquarius. That's what it is that needs to be learned. If you wonder why it is that you haven't had a new beginning, or why it is that the scales have been unbalanced, it's for the simple fact that you don't see yourself as a child of God, right? You don't see yourself as an aspect of the all. You don't see yourself as a child of complete perfection. You don't see yourself as a benevolent soul in a body that came here for a human experience. You're seeing yourself solely for what it is that you've been through in your lifespan. And that's how you're judging yourself. That's how you're seeing yourself. And that's what you feel like your life should reflect. And so it is, right? Because God created man creating God, right? So we're just as much as a creator, as much as our creator is. And if you feel like you're alone in this, right? If you feel like all you have is you, and you still delude yourself into believing, right, that you have a faith as strong as you really don't. You feel what I'm saying? And the way that you're coping with things is by disassociating, whether from yourself or from other people, right? And you feel that you're at the will of life. That's the reason why you're seeing it in the 3D. It's not that life is trying to teach you something, or God is trying to show you something. The whole lesson of this month is showing you that everything begins and ends with you. You feel what I'm saying? It's like this entanglement that's in your mind, this double bind that you've put yourself in mentally. That is what you're seeing in every single facet of your life. And that's because you willed it to be that way. If you decide that this isn't the life that you want to live, you simply have to do one thing at this proverbial crossroads that each and every one in the entire collective is standing at. And that's you coming out of agreement with it. Everything that you're plugged into. If I plug my lamp into the wall and there's electricity in my house, what is electricity going to do? It's going to make my lamp shine, because that's what it's designed to do on both sides. If I unplug it, my lamp will not. What I'm seeing for Aquarius, you guys are asking to be a lamp that shines without plugging in, and it just does not work that way. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel, in a sense, when we talk about like deluding oneself and disassociating oneself, you are a lamp that's sitting in a, house that's completely empty, who's refusing to plug into the outlet, and you're expecting to have light. And then when you don't have it, it's like you're cursing everything that's around you. If anyone ever comes to try to touch your plug and plug it in, you're like, don't touch me. I disassociate. I'm snatching my plug back. But you're wondering why you still don't have light. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this to Aquarius as if I haven't said this to every single sign before you, or I won't say it to the sign that's after you, that of which is Pisces, because I mean, after all of these signs, I feel like the consistency is pretty clear. And the collective message that I've been receiving up to this point from every single sign that I've done is that we are our own worst enemies. Every single thing it is in our life that we do not have is not because God doesn't want to give it to us. It's not because we're not enough. We're not praying enough. We're not meditating enough. We're not doing enough yoga. We're not eating clean enough. You know what I'm saying? We're not having enough sex, or we're not having not enough sex, or because we got a divorce, or whatever the case. None of that matters. It's the fact of this unconditional love that I'm seeing for all of these signs that none of us are realizing. It's the fact that you have a creator that loves you in spite of your faults, and will even work through your faults to try to get you to your highest good. But the only reason why none of us have ever gotten there up to this point is because we're holding ourselves back from it. Why? 9 of Pentacles in reverse. We feel like we don't fucking deserve it. That's all it is at the end of the day. Now, the last card that you guys have, hello, hallelujah. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Dude, the whole premise of this month, my beautiful Aquarius, is to get you guys to this Ace of Pentacles, is to get you to the seed of abundance. If I were to bring it back to what I've said for so many signs, if we were to literally look at this entire month of what the North Node and South Node was about in 2021, the North Node was in Gemini, the South Node was in Sagittarius, right? If we were to equate Gemini to the Lover's card, or back in the day as it was called, the Choice card, I like that name better, just saying. But anywho, but if we bring it back to the Choice card, it brings you back to the choice that altered the course of humanity. The reason why, if we're looking at it from a Christian mindset, or, a Muslim mindset, or a Judaism mindset, what set this whole thing off of why it is that we're on planet Earth goes back to these 2 people that were naked in a garden, and a choice that they had between 2 trees. And of course, it's the tree of life, and then the tree of knowledge and good and evil. I like to look at it as the tree of life and death. It's the simple fact that these hypothetical humans, you know what I'm saying? This dyad that all of humanity exists as, Adam and Eve, right? Male and female, right? You have this dyad that's an aspect of God that elected to choose death. And that is the reason why, from the moment that each of us are born, that we are dying. From the moment that the cord is cut from your mother, you are in the process of dying. Everything on planet Earth is in the process of dying, or it's already dead. Everything on planet Earth, everything in 3D is death. Your entire life, the only thing that you were truly learning is how to die. You feel what I'm saying? Now, if you talk about salvation, if you talk about enlightenment, if you talk about what it means to be woke, if you want to know what it means to go to another level, to ascend spiritually, it goes back to that main basis, that main story. Is we're given the opportunity in this flesh to choose again. If you want to know what eternal life is, It's you coming into the realization that everyone prior to you, every one of your ancestors, even if you were to go back to that story, those people chose death. That is the only reason why we're here. That's why we're dying, and then we die here, because they chose death. You feel what I'm saying? The opportunity that you have at the crossroads that everyone else, all 12 signs, have to choose this month and have to choose every day of your life after this, that everyone prior to us has ever chosen, is that same choice. Two paths lie before you, life and death. Choose life. We continuously make the wrong choice. And the crazy thing about it is every single second of every single moment of every single day of your life, everything you do from the moment that you open your eyes and put your feet onto the ground is a matter of life and death. And none of us are seeing it that way, but that's really what it is. If we were to reduce every single human emotion down in psychology, it all goes back to love and fear. That's what everything relates down to. It's two choices. So with this Ace of Pentacles, this is Spirit yet again, something that Spirit has done countless times throughout the course of your life, offering you to choose life. But the beautiful thing about it is you have the opportunity to choose life on earth. You don't have to wait until you die in order to experience it. You can have everlasting life here. And whether you do or you don't, that's entirely up to you, my friend. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, that's been your soul session for April, my beautiful Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going over to my network and Vimeo and Patreon and all the places to do you guys extended. So if you're about that life, follow me on over there. But if not, I still love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.